Welcome to Herat Attack and Maths. If you found this video, you're either one of my current students, or you're a former student, or you had nothing better to do and stalked me online and somehow got to the YouTube channel. Either way, you're here to learn some maths, so let's get into it. And today's topic, algebra. Alright guys, this is our revision sheet and let's go through. First question. Simplify the following algebraic expressions showing full working out. First thing I would tell you is place all like terms together. So we know we have a k term here and a negative 7k term there. We gotta take the symbol with the term that's to the left of it. So I'm going to put those two together, and then I'm going to write my c terms. And then when we collect like terms and simplify, 2 take 5 is negative 5, variable is k, 4 plus 10 is 14, and variable is c. Final answer is negative 5k plus 10c. We can't add those two together because we've got a k term and a c term. They are not like terms. Next, multiplying algebraic expressions. Well, first thing I'm going to do is negative 4 times negative 9. And then we're going to multiply our variable together, h times h. And you know that if you've been in my class long enough, that a negative times a negative, we will write down our positive. 4 times 9 is 36. We know that h and h by itself has a power of 1. So that's h to the power 1 and h to the power 1. We know when we multiply variable, we're going to add those powers together. That's our first index law. So we're going to get 36h squared as our final answer. Alright, moving down the page, we're going to expand the brackets and simplify the following algebraic expressions. So again, we are using the distributive law, which means we are going to multiply negative 4 by t and multiply it by positive 7. So again, if we write that out, 4 times t, negative times a positive will give me a negative, and the numbers are 4 times 7. So negative 4 times t, well that's negative 4t, and negative 28. So negative 4 take 28 is our answer there. Same thing, but this time we're multiplying negative 4 into the bracket for both of our terms. So here I've got negative 4n times n. Positive times a positive is a positive, and negative 4n times 9. Again, we know that n has a power of 1 and n has a power of 1. So if we add those two together, and then we're going to simplify this side, 4 times 9 is 36, and we carry the n over. Here we have 4n squared plus 36n. Again, n squared and n are not the same. That's a squared term, that's a single term or a power of 1, so they're not the same. We can't add those two together, so that's our final answer. Alright, now we're going to go back the other way. We've expanded above, and now we're going to factorize. First thing we need to know is that this has a s term, this doesn't have an s term. That means that here the variables are not the common term. So we need to find the highest common factor of 6 and 18. And I know from my times tables that the highest common factors for 6, so my factors for 6 are 1 and 6, 2 and 3. We know the number we're trying to find the factors of is negative 18. So I need the factors for negative 18, which means we've got 1 and negative 18. And then we can flip that around and have positive 1. Sorry, negative 1 and positive 18. We've got 2 and negative 9. Flip that around, we've got negative 2 and positive 9. We've got 3 and negative 6. And negative 3 and positive 6. Alright, once you've done that, we need to find the highest common factor. So if we look at the top line and the bottom lines for negative 18, we're looking for the number that's common to both and it's the highest number. Well, you can see that we've got 6 here, positive, and we've got positive 6 there. So highest common factor is 6. So when we factorize this expression, we are going to take 6 outside the bracket. Now we need to ask ourselves, 6 times what gives us 6? We know from here 6 times 1 gives us 6. So that's going to be 1 in the bracket. To get a s term, I'm going to multiply it by s. Now we need to get negative 18. So 6 times what gives you negative 18? If we come down here, we know that 6 times negative 3 gives us negative 18. So the number we put in here is negative 3. So you can leave your answer as 6, 1s take 3, or we can write that down as 6 s take 3 and take the 1 out. It's still the same answer. Alright, next one. Now we're going to do the same thing. Again, the letters are not common. The variables are not common. One's B, one's C. So we're going to factorize by finding the highest factor of 5 and 50. So factors of 5. 5 being a prime number, your only factors are 1 and 5. 50, this time is positive, so I do not need to consider any negative numbers here. So factors of 1 and 50, 50 are 1 and 50, 2 and 25, 5 and 10. And that's it. So we can see that the highest common factor for both, really easy, this one is going to be 5. So that 5 is what we're taking outside the bracket. Hold on. If I take 5 outside the bracket, to get 5b, I gotta multiply 5 by 1. And I gotta multiply it by a b term as well. Then to get positive 50, I'm gonna have to multiply it by positive 10. Again, we want a c term, so it's gotta be positive 10c. Or you can write this as 5b plus 10c, just without the 1 at the front, because it's the same thing. Alright, now we're up to question 3. This time, basic revision of what we did in grade 7. Going from extended form to index form, and then going back the other way. Index form gives us 2 to the power 4 times 5 squared. Expanded form, that looks like 2 multiplied by itself 4 times, multiplied by 5 2 times. Next we're going to go back the other way. So here we got P and R. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 P's. So that's P to the power 4. And I'm going to multiply that by R. 1, 2, 3. So it's R cubed. So the answer there is P to the 4th R cubed. Question 4 says expand and evaluate. When it says evaluate, that's when I want you to give me an answer. A numerical value. So here we're going to do, first we're going to expand. So 6 to the power 4 is 6 times 6 times 6 times 6. So write it out 4 times. And next, to evaluate, I'm just going to put that into my calculator and get an answer. Alright, so on your calculator, for those of you who don't know, the power of any number is that button there. So if you press that, you'll get a box. You're going to put 4 in there, hit equals. So 1296 is our answer to that question. Next one, we are expanding -7 cubed. -7 is in brackets, so we have to multiply -7 by -7 by -7. Don't really need the brackets at the front. We know that a negative times a negative is positive. Positive times a negative is going to give us a negative answer. And then we're doing 7 times 7 times 7. So again, on your calculator, if we do 7, if you do -7 cubed, hit equals, there's your answer, 343. Alright, index laws now. We're going to simplify the following index laws. We're multiplying and we've got the same base. Our base being S. So when we multiply indices with the same base, we add that power. So it's 4 plus 10. That gives us S to the power of 14. Here, I'm going to rewrite this as 3 times x to the 0th power. That's going to be equal to 3 times. We know anything to the power 0 is 1. And we know 3 times 1 is 3. See, we've got division of indices. And we got the same base of R. We know when we divide indices with the same base, we take the powers away. So it's going to be R to the 8, take away 3, which is 5. Alright, last one for this question is power of a power. Again, we know from our index laws, when we have a power of a power, we take the outside power of 5 and we multiply it by whatever terms on the inside, whatever powers on the inside. So take that 5, multiply by that 4. So that's going to be 5 to the power 4 times 5. We know 4 times 5 is 20, so that's 5 to the 20th power. Alright, next question. Simple familiar problem solving. We've given you this rectangle. We've told you the rectangle has a length of 5 and a width of x plus 2. You have to determine and simplify an algebraic expression for perimeter and area. And to make it even easier, we've given you the formula for perimeter, which you should know from your last exam, is sum of sides, and area is length times width. So we know that perimeter is sum of sides, which means we've got two side lengths of 5 and then two side lengths of 2x, x plus 4. Sorry, that's meant to say 2x. Forgotten the 2 here. So, we've got 5 plus 5, and then 2 lots of 2x plus 4. If we collect like terms, we have 2x positive 2x terms. So I'm going to put those together, and then I'm going to put all my constants together. 5 plus 5, 4 plus 4. 2x plus 2x is 4x, 5 plus 5 is 10, plus 4 is 14, plus 4 is 18. So the perimeter for the rectangle is 4x plus 18. The area we know is length times width. Length is 5 times the width, 2x plus 4. Now this is the distributive law, so we're going to multiply 5 by both of these terms. Again, I'm just going to lay out my working out. So we're doing 5 plus 2x, positive times the positive. That's the positive, and I'm going to do 5 times 4. 5 times 10x, well that's 2x. 5 times 2x equals 10x. Plus 5 times 4, that's 20. So the area is 10x plus 20. If you want to be a perfectionist, area would be units, perimeter would be units, area would be units squared, because we need square units for area. Alright, next question. You're asked to simplify x to the 7th powered by 3 times x to the 3rd powered by 9. So, if we break it up, what we have is power of a power times power of a power. So, we remember BOMDAS. Alright, if we remember BOMDAS, we're going to do the brackets, so brackets before the multiplication. So if I write this out again, we've got x to the 7th third power times x cubed to the 9th power. So I'm going to multiply the 3 by 7 and then multiply 9 by 3. So this is going to be x 7 times 3, x 3 times 9. When we simplify that, we've got x to the 21, x to the 27th. Now I'm multiplying indices with the same base, so I'm just going to add the powers together. This is x to the 21 plus 27, which is x to the 48th power. Alright, last set of questions. We're going from simple to complex. Here, first thing I would notice it's the positive and the negative there. So let's simplify this by removing the positive negative. Alright, a positive and a negative together, we know from integer knowledge that that's a negative. And we're going to multiply it by negative 4b. Again, if we do as, we do multiplication first, and then we do the resulting with the 5a. So do that first. So we've got 5a, a negative times a negative, that's negative. So negative 4 times negative 4 times a times b. Which means we've got 5a plus 16, negative 4 times negative 4 is positive 16, a times b, that's ab. I've got an a term, I've got an ab term, they're not like terms, so we can't add those together. Alright, now we're doing the distributive law. Once here, and then another one here. So I'm going to start with the first bracket. It's going to be negative 4d times 2d. Negative times a positive, that's a negative, so 4d times 3. Then plus, sorry, take away negative, positive times a negative is a negative 4 times 2d. Positive times positive is positive 4 times 3. Negative 4 times 2, that's negative 8. Remember d has the power of 1, so d times d, we're going to add those powers. So it's d squared. Negative times the positive, it's a negative. 4 times 3 is 12. Our variable's d. Next we have negative 4 times 2, negative 8. Variable's d, and then 4 times 3 is 12. Now we're going to collect like terms here. So negative 8d squared, only d squared term, so that's by itself. Negative 12 take 8, it's negative 20. Variables d plus 12. None of these terms are like terms, so that is where we stop there. Alright, next one. Again, distributive law, but I'm multiplying negative 6y into 3 terms. So, first one we're going to do is negative 6y times 5. Take away negative, take a negative times a positive, it's negative. And we're going to do 6y times 5x. Negative times a positive, it's a negative, and we're going to do 6y times 2y. Negative times a positive is negative. 6 times 5 is 30, that's y. Negative times a positive is negative. 6 times 5 again is 30. X times y is xy. Remembering we love alphabetical order. Negative times a positive is negative. 6 times 2 is 12. Y times y, remembering they have a power of 1, we're going to add those powers together. So 1 plus 1, that's 2. And then if another way of writing this is negative 12y squared, because we want our highest power at the front, minus 30xy minus 30y. Whoops, forgot to move the camera down. Can't rub that one out and do it again, so follow this. That's what you should get. Ask me in class if you need help on that one. Alright, this one. Again, we've got multiplying indices, but we've also got power of a power. So we're gonna expand that bracket first and go from there. So 4a squared, I'm just gonna leave that term. The power by 3, I'm gonna expand that into all terms. So we're gonna have 2 to the power 1 cubed times a to the power a squared cubed. Because I'm distributing the 3 to that power, distributing the 3 into this power. So this gives me 4a squared times 2 to the power 3 times a to the power 8. Sorry, a to the power 6. This is 4a squared. 2 to the power 3 is 8 times a to the power 6. I'm going to put my coefficients together, coefficient and constant. So 4 times 8, and then put my variables together. A squared times a to the 6, 4 times a to the 32, times a to the 2 plus 6, same base, add the power when multiplying. So 32a 8, 32 to the 32a to the 8th power. Alright, last one, same thing. I'm gonna distribute this 4 into all the powers. Alright, so I'm gonna break this up into individual components, and I'm gonna power it by the 4th power. So I've got negative 2 with the power of 1. I'm gonna multiply that, raise that to the 4th power, times a squared, raise that to the 4th power, times b cubed, raise that to the 4th power, times c to the power 1, raise that to the 4th power. Now I'm going to multiply in. So this is going to be negative 2 to the 4th power, times a to the 8th, times b to the 12th power, 3 times 4, times c to the 1 times 4, that's 4. Negative 2 to the 4th power, if we do that on our calculator, we get 16, and then it's going to be a8, b to the 12th, c to the 4th. Alright, little things you guys should notice. Previous page, there's a blank space here. That means there is a question here that you might need to work out yourself. It might be one of those more complex questions, so that's not there. Here, I've got C and D, but there's no questions here, which means there's going to be a question there, 2 questions that you guys need to be able to work out. And lastly, it's great that everyone who has subscribed, but if you can subscribe to Hereditary Tagging Maths version 2, that'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks guys, and if you got this far, good job. Hope you do well on the exam.